Welcome to another great dinner with Chris and Mary at the Wine Vault and Bistro. My name is Billy Grant, and I've known Chris and Mary for a very long time. When I owned Four Vines Winery back in the day, we did some tremendous dinners, had a lot of fun, met a lot of great friends doing these evenings at the Wine Vault and Bistro. Hats off to them for figuring out how to rock and roll this thing all the way through this crazy couple of years that we all had to go through. I know you guys aren't at the Bistro tonight. You're at home doing this, and we're doing it virtually with you. Janelle is right now behind the camera, but she's going to step out from that momentarily. And when she does, she's going to be on the Paper Street Vineyard. I'm here at the winery vineyard, we call it, standing a little block of Cabernet that's recently been pruned. But she's going to be standing up in that Paper Street Vineyard, and she's going to head into 3 of the blocks where the fruit comes from what you're going to be drinking this evening. The Paper Street Vineyard was planted in 2013. Janelle's father, this was his big project. He had always wanted to have a vineyard where he started it from scratch, and he literally did on this one. And he planted every darn vine up there with his group. Janelle will walk you through the varietals and the acreage and so on and so forth. I want to talk more about the fact that the vineyard, what the vineyard exemplifies is just a tremendous. It's sun, soil, it's grit, and when you see the vineyard and you see the steepness, you'll appreciate what went into it. And when you taste the wines, you're gonna see why it makes a difference. This vineyard produces much smaller plants, smaller berries, less clusters, more concentration, and all of it shows up in the wine. The wines have tremendous acid. The soils up there are tremendously calcareous. They really exemplify that whole ancient seabed that Paso Robles was many, many years ago, 20 million years ago, approximately. And that acidity from those calcareous soils really comes through in these wines. The Zinfandel being the very, very last one, for instance, the acidity in that one is what absolutely makes that dish work. A lot of people might find Zinfandel is like, would that be the right pairing? Should it be should it be a big Syrah from Côte-Rôtie, or should it be a Cabernet? No, the Zinfandel you're going to find is going to be perfectly with it. It's a beautifully acid balanced Zinfandel. That's one thing that Janelle has done. Her entire career of winemaking has made beautifully balanced Zinfandels that just shock people sometimes. So I want you to enjoy this. When Janelle steps around and you see her, she's going to be standing in the middle of a Claret Blanche. Claret Blanche is a tremendous white grape from southern France, from Châteauneuf. Very rarely planted. We have the largest planting of this grape. We know in the central coast of California, possibly in California. It came out of quarantine in 2013, came through Chateau Castel, like many of our Rhone varietals here in Paso Robles came through the Tables Creek group. She's going to start there, going to hit the Mourvedre block where the Mourvedre that comes into the narrator comes from, and then she's going to hit the Zinfandel block. And before she steps out in front of the camera, you're going to see a beautiful drone video to show you the extreme nature of this vineyard. There are times in which, matter of fact, just recently we couldn't even get to this vineyard because the road is impassable to go from where I'm standing right now, to, as we pan across real quick, you kind of take a look. We're at 46 West. We're just a little bit up from Peachy Canyon Road. We're across the street from Austin Hope and from the whole La Ventura, which we're looking right over the top of right now. And then as we zoom in up there, all the vineyards at the top of the hill, they're about almost 1,000 feet higher than we are right now. We're at about 700 feet above sea level. That's about 1,700 feet on average up there, 16 to 18, depending where you're standing on those hills. Most of the vineyard is in the Willow Creek appellation. A little bit of it is in Adelaida. When Janelle's up there, you'll get a chance to see exactly what the topography looks like up close and personal. This is our winery here at 46 West. We're about a quarter of a mile west of Highway 101, the JDC Winery, and we hope you come here and visit us very, very soon and can try the wines here. Have a great dinner and enjoy Janelle's walking you through the wines.
everyone, welcome. I'm Janelle Ducey, owner and winemaker of JDC Wines and Paper Street Wines. I am thrilled to be doing a dinner with Chris and Mary because it's been ages upon ages since this has happened. So to do this virtually means a lot and super important to me, and to show you guys something new from the Ducey Vineyard is Paper Street Vineyard, is where we at here. And Paper Street Vineyard is super special to my family because we're farmers at heart. I'm fourth generation of the great farming side, and I started JDC Wines later on because I wanted to really take the Ducey fruit and make it full circle. But the Paper Street Vineyard is a vineyard we started from the ground up, the only vineyard we started from the ground up. Other vineyards have been handed down by generation or we bought, and this is one that has our blood, tears, everything involved in it. So we came here, it was 350 acres, and we cleared it and planted about 11 different varietals, which we'll go through a couple of them tonight, which is super exciting. So I want to share, the atmosphere at sunset. I want to share this beautiful property that we love so much, where it means the world to us. So I want to show you a little bit of trellis vines. This is the Syrah section we're in, which is part of the narrator later on. And a really cool feature of this observatory over here, which one day, hopefully it'll be a tasting room, which on a tour of Chris's sometime, we'll come check it out. All right, I hope you guys are ready to drink some amazing Paper Street wines tonight. We're gonna start you guys off tonight with our Claret Blanche in the middle of the Claret Blanche field here. We have about 4 acres planted here up on Paper Street. And let me tell you how rare this is, and it's hard to find, and not much planted acreage here in Paso Robles. But Claret is a Southern Rhone varietal. We got about 4 acres worth, planted it at this 4-acre lot that is north facing, so kind of unique. It's a late coming off the vines, which means it's the last block we have to prune. So I'll show you that in a little bit. But to get down to some wine, it's one of the most beautiful varietals that I know and love. And I know Chris had the same feeling, and I feel like your guys' pairing tonight with the chicken, roasted asparagus is just beautiful. A little bit of truffle to add that extra oomph to it, I think is gonna be amazing. Claret is a varietal that you don't have too often, which is super special to us. We make a very, very small amount of it. As you can see, this is it, and we share it for a few different winemakers here in town in Paso Robles. But it has such that perfect weight going on between that, it's in between that stainless and that oaky wine. So I feel like in that middle range, it's just beautiful. So there's not a lot of acreage planted here in Paso Robles, and what we do have, we got from the nurseries, we planted it, and if we have to do any replants at all, we have to take our own cuttings. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit of what is happening in the vineyard right now and what we do. So this is, like I said, the last acreage block to get pruned. All right, there we go. It's holding tight. And this is what's happening right now before the spring bud break happens. So these are our canes, and what we're doing right now is training these vines for this following harvest, to train them and how many grape clusters we want per shoot and how much we want to be growing all along. So we're gonna leave 2 buds per cane, take the canes off, and that allows for, if the frost does come, one of them freezes, we still have an opportunity for more growth. This one is super small, so I'm gonna cut it off entirely because we don't want a little tiny cluster of claret. We want some oomph to it. So we're just gonna kind of go around and do this all around. It is very hard to get all these out, so I won't bore you with all the details of all this farming nonsense. So when you think that farming is a glorious, beautiful thing, a vineyard, it's a lot of hard work. I know I'm only doing a showpiece here for you now, but there's a lot because it is 106 planted acres, and we have to go through all of this acreage before the first frost. So I hope you guys can see what goes into all of this and our love and passion up here at Paper Street. And the claret. All right, we've made it across the acreage of Paper Street Vineyard over to the top of the Movedra section. So we are at a high elevation, of course. We're about 1,600, 1,800 feet right now. And as you can see, we're looking upon Paso Robles here. So looking down to the Ducey Vineyard and all those 300 wineries out in Paso Robles. So this high elevation really gives us this temperature difference and a different kind of microclimate up here. This is where the mainstay of the narrator comes from. So 50% almost of the Mourvedre is part of the narrator, and we're gonna have a little taste. One thing that really comes out in the Paper Street wines is that I'm very non-invasive in the winemaking process. So there's gonna be no additives. It's all fermented on natural native yeast. And so you're really getting all this color, all this vibrance, all this fruit, everything is just from the grapes off the soil, and that's it. Speaking of the soil, I want you to pan in down here real quick and see these vines. The Mourvedre in particular is head pruned like the Zinfandel. So we're gonna leave spur points to make it kind of come up and out. But look down here at the rocks. We're gonna have just all this, a sea of white, shaly, calcareous rocks on the topsoil here. And that's across the whole vineyard. We just tilled it, putting the cover crop back into the ground. And that's adding nitrogen and to kind of fuel the energy for the vineyard just to grow over the next year. But onto the narrator. So in the Mourvedre section, there's just something about this Mourvedre that's just the best. I want as much of the Mourvedre I can get every year. I'm begging for more and more of this varietal because I love it so much. It adds that earthy quality to it, but I think blended with the Grenache and Syrah just makes a very beautiful, very velvety blend. That Grenache adds that fruit component, and the Syrah adds just like that deepness and that depth that we're looking for in a GSM blend. All right, I think we have, in my opinion, saved the best for last. We are on to the Paper Street Zinfandel. And I grew up with Zinfandel. It's my second nature. It's in my heart. It's what I know and love, and what I kind of grew my wine business upon, because we have some of the oldest planted Zinfandel in Paso Robles, starting in 1925 with the Bonito Ducey Vineyard and 1945 with the Dante Ducey Vineyard, which is where I was born and raised and where I live today. And those vines touched my bedroom window. They were our playground growing up. It was our livelihood. It was a little bit of everything. So it's really special that this vineyard was planted from those cuttings of the 1945 vineyard, planted at about 1,000 feet higher elevation here up at Paper Street, and in the same style. So this is, again, head trained, almost dry farmed. Legally, we have to put irrigation out here to get a bank approved loan, but they don't get much water. But as you can see, this steep terroir, the steep hillsides, has apple like drainage. It is so steep that I feel like when you walk up these hills, I have to stop and sit on my knees in order to not fall backwards when I'm down at the bottom. So it is steep, rugged terrain that is just incomparable to a lot of other vineyards around here. And that is why you can have a 2017 Zinfandel that is its third leaf here up on Paper Street compared to a 1945 Zin from Ducey Vineyard. And this one's just magical. It's got depth, it's got layers, it has all that Zinfandel fruit that is so varietally characteristic of Zinfandel without being over the top, but being a little bit bold and kind of a different animal. So this is our Zinfandel. This still has that same shaly white top soil, as you can see. As you can see Coco over there making her way. Wait till she climbs back up, she'll be out of breath. But it's really, really special to have so much acreage planted up here at Paper Street, planted to Zinfandel. So I think with the pairing tonight, you're having it with beef short ribs, which I think is the perfect pairing. It'll have the richness of the Zin, that fruit will kind of cut through the fat on that. And I think it's just a perfect pairing that Chris and the chef have done tonight with this. And so I really, really hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you feel the passion of Zinfandel that has been born and instilled in me. And I love to finish up on this wine with you guys.